my cousin Jimmy. My cousin Jimmy, his name was James Andrew Cowie, and he was. My mother had one sister. She only had one sibling, and she had an older sister that was about 3 years older than her, 3 years older. And she had two children, and she actually had them later. Like my mother had her kids before all three of her kids before my aunt started having her kids because I guess she was having issues with having kids, and I think it was because of her second first husband, but her second husband, David Cowie. It's like the two of them had two kids. The oldest one was Jimmy, and then the younger, and then a sister, Laura. So I'm going to talk about Jimmy, and um, and his mother named was Joyce, and she actually went. Her first name was actually Marilyn Joyce, and but she always, as far as I know, she was never actually called Marilyn. She always went by her middle name Joyce. Anyway, a few of the odds and ends I remember of him, him and his life. I know he worked in plumbing. I think he picked up the plumbing trade from like her when he was still young and living at home. There was the next door neighbor, I believe, was a plumber, and he was an older man, and I think he picked up that from him. And so I don't know if he did anything else other than plumbing, plumbing work. If he had any other like career jobs or anything, but I know he did that. And I remember Jimmy having like the what we call the house chuckle, or like the little laugh. It's like the family laugh that was came down from our grandfather and stuff. It's kind of this little chuckle, just kind of it's like a little sense of humor, and so on. And then uh, Laura and Jimmy, the two of them, I remember my sister and I on New Year's Eve one year when we were still quite young. We and they were kids. We were probably teenagers, and then we went and babysat them on New Year's Eve because their parents wanted to go out. David and Joyce wanted to go out for the evening, so we went over there. And the reason it's memorable is because they were kind of out of control, and and they what they did is Laura was learning to play the saxophone. I don't know why the saxophone, but she went with the saxophone. Her mother was very talented musically, and so she was learning to play the saxophone. And then Jimmy and they went out into like this medium. They lived in Redondo Beach on a street named Dixon, and there was like a little triangle thing. So they went out there. It's like we couldn't control them. They went out there, and she was out there playing at New Year's Eve, playing her saxophone, and they were running around and stuff. So that was kind of a funny memory. I actually remember going there over on Halloween too one time, and we went, trick or treating together at different doors and stuff. I think we were, some of the stupid outfits we used to wear. It's like we didn't have much of a budget for Halloween costumes. But I remember we had one that was like a penguin costume, and it had this beak thing, and it felt that it's like so. I remember going one time over there and doing their neighborhood as opposed to our neighborhood in Gardena. So, and anyway, it's like oddly, Jimmy went with me. It's like I belonged to something called as a adult. I was probably in my mid 30s, early 30s. Uh, Actually, it was probably like 33 or something like that, 34 years old, something like that. Jimmy actually went with me. He wanted to go with me. It's like something called the Yes Network, which is Young Executive Singles, and it was really a lot of fun. It's like I don't think they're around anymore. It's like, but basically, they would have an event where it's like at a nightclub or something where they take over the nightclub on a certain night, and it's like so you get to meet a lot of single people. So one time, oddly, one time he went with me. I mean, I wasn't necessarily really close with Jimmy, but it's like I asked him if he wanted to go, so he went. It's like I don't know that he met anybody. I didn't really. It's like I was mingling and stuff, but I just thought it was kind of, And I remember a woman saying, because Jimmy was very shy, and I remember him, a woman saying, it's like talking to me about. It's like, yeah, it's like, he seems very sweet. He's very shy and everything, So I don't know that he talked to too many women or anything. So. Um, But that was kind of interesting. Uh, Jimmy, one of the interesting thing is Jimmy won a bike at Rick's, drive-in. It's like, there's a burger place. It's still there. It's on Rosecrans in Gardena, near Budlong. I think it's close to Budlong, between Budlong and Normandy. Anyway, it's like they used to do, a long time ago, do giveaways and stuff. And I remember him saying, saying it's like, he put in his name for, entered the contest or something, a drawing and stuff for the bicycle. And he, it was funny because it's like, all these people were putting their names and stuff, and he kept saying, "I'm going to win." It's like he knew he was going to win, and guess what? He did. He won the bike, which was I thought was kind of funny because it's like, how did he know he was going to win the bike? It's like, but he did. He won the bike, so good for him. So yeah, it's like I'm gonna do some more on him, but it's like I didn't want this video to be too long. But that's just some of the few cute memories of my cousin Jimmy, and we all miss him. He died much too young, and we all miss him, and I know his sister misses him too.